Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. Damaging winds across the north half of Montana wreak havoc tonight.
Strong winds caused power outages and made driving treacherous along parts of Highway 93 in the Bitterroot. In Stevensville, wind gusts knocked over a large tree, which created a dangerous situation because that knocked wires down along a 4-block area.
For now, the power company is advising us to stay away from any wires, even if they look benign, because with the wires touching each other, any wire could be hot at this time.
Thola says crews responded at around 5 o'clock and immediately blocked off any dangerous road that had any power lines down. As crews were responding to one situation, turns out another tree fell in the middle of the Stevensville cutoff road, and that created a line of traffic as folks were trying to get home but couldn't. Thola says there were many serious situations tonight, one including power outages at stoplights along Highway 93.
Any traffic signal that is inoperative needs to be treated as a 4-way stop, and everyone needs to stop and proceed with caution in that situation.
And in the Flathead Valley, the wind hit very hard. Thousands of people remain in the dark tonight.
Strong winds knocked branches and trees down into power lines, cutting the juice off for long periods of time, several hours in fact. The outages stretched from Libby to Kalispell to Whitefish and all the way east to Glacier National Park. For over an hour, streetlights leading into Whitefish on Highway 93 were out, where police had to direct traffic. At one point, over 100 outages occurred, causing over 13,000 people to lose power. In Whitefish, around 6, downtown got power back, while other residential neighborhoods were still without power. One Whitefish family had the entire top of a tree crash into their backyard and missed their house by about 5 feet.
Of course, we stock up on food, because you never know. So we could lose, a couple $100 worth of food, but that's all replaceable as long as, we're all fine. But we are looking forward to having some power back soon.
You can check Flathead Electric Co-op's website for a map showing the current outages. And for the latest conditions and an update on all that wind, let's throw it over to Chief Meteorologist Darren Yeltsin. Darren?
Yeah, our peak wind gust in Missoula, 59 miles per hour now. Peak wind gust in Kalispell, 56 miles per hour. So there's no doubt we saw damage out there today, and these wind highlights were rightfully needed today. You can see what's left of them, the tan wind advisories, and then the lighter color yellow, those are high wind warnings. For our viewing area, these are out until midnight tonight, where we still could see gusts in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. This does include the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys. We will see improving conditions tomorrow. Thursday actually looking very fantastic, but we could do this all over again Friday. Got more details coming up in your forecast.
And again, Flathead power crews are out across northwestern Montana trying to repair those outages that extend from Libby to Glacier Park. They are aware of most of them, but affected members should still call to report those power outages at 406-751-4449. The dispatch center is staffed 24/7 to assist with outages. Flathead Electric Co-op would like to remind people never touch or drive over a down power line. If you see it, report it right away, and make sure the address on your home and business clearly visible to linemen and emergency responders. To keep an eye on the changing conditions in western Montana, all you need is a mobile device. Just download the KPAX Storm Tracker weather app to get on-the-go forecasts and radar from our Storm Tracker weather team. It is free in the Google Play or the App Store.
In other news tonight, biologists with Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks say they're ready to assume management of the state's grizzlies, including bears along the northern Continental Divide, if they should be removed from federal protection. However, they believe the public will play a key role in making all that a success. Unlike the bears in Yellowstone National Park, which are removed from the protective cover of the endangered species list this year, the grizzlies on the northern Continental Divide ecosystem are still a threatened species. But during a presentation this week, panelists say the bears are recovered, with more than 1,000 roaming not only in Glacier National Park and the Bob Marshall, but far out into the plains east of the front, which was their historic habitat.
This core area that we wanted to protect and reduce mortality in, we have succeeded in doing that. And we have ways to estimate the sustainable mortality, and at this point we're way below those numbers, and we have a pretty good idea of how to manage that in the future.
Some conservation groups are worried the state will be up to the challenge of managing delisted bears, but Costello says the state has decades of experience.
We have 10 people that work on bears, and most of those people primarily work on grizzly bears. There is no other species in this state that gets that kind of singular effort from FWP.
Panelists said while the NCDE population of bears has recovered, there's still lots of work to be done. That includes coming together, using science to plan the next steps, and avoiding the lawsuits filed by non-governmental agencies that they say are blocking further progress and fostering public involvement.
The public and our carnivores deserve better. And this continual struggle that is ongoing and is typified by wolves and to some extent grizzly bears is negative for these animals.
What's interesting to me is how are we going to move forward? How are we going to get bears in all of those other ecosystems? How are we going to increase the acceptance of bears into areas where they have not been previously before or haven't been in hundreds of years?
Costello says 95% of the sow grizzlies are surviving from year to year. That's well above management goals.
The University of Montana will extend voluntary severance offers to eligible non-faculty employees as the school continues to hunt for ways to save money. Interim President Sheila Stern says the university must reduce the amount of its budget being spent on personnel, and offering these severance packages is a way to ease the potential for layoffs as tries to align its budget with current enrollments. The move comes after the school offered severance to tenured faculty earlier this year. The university also is in the middle of prioritizing what it spends on academic programs and administration. University leaders will outline details of the severance offer in campus meetings tomorrow at 11 o'clock and noon at the UC Theater. It is not a lack of enthusiasm, but a lack of money that could break a long-standing tradition for the Grizzly Marching Band. Due to budget cuts in the athletics department, the band will not be playing music at the football game between the Grizz and Montana State on November 18th. Director of Athletic Bands Kevin Griggs says the annual trip for the marching band was eliminated because of budget cuts. UM's Director of Athletics Kent Haslam says this trip cost the athletic department roughly $25,000 for the 130-plus marching band members to attend the game. According to Haslam, the cost includes buses, food, hotel rooms, and tickets. Griggs says the band is saddened that they will not be there, but will continue to do their best to create an energetic atmosphere at the games.
2 Stevensville school bond elections will be on the ballot next spring as the district works to catch up on improvements to both the elementary and high schools. The bonds cover deferred maintenance, renovations to buildings, and safety projects. Stevensville School Superintendent Bob Moore says the bond will help the district upgrade its facilities while servicing a growing number of students. There will be public information meetings over the coming months. Ballots will be sent out in the spring and due the first week in May.
We want to protect the investment of the community. This building still has great value. And if we don't protect that, then of course you start to have problems in a building. At some point in time, you'd probably have to spend $35 to $40 million for a new building. We want to protect the community's investment.
The high school bond will cost $9.3 million. The elementary school package, just over $13 million. Both would run for 20 years.
Kalispell leaders are trying to come up with the best way to turn the city's industrial core into an area that's better for businesses and pedestrians.
And they're turning to some expert help from Denver, where the city pulled off what is considered to be one of the most successful urban renewals in the western U.S. Nicole Miller reports.
Within the next year and a half, downtown Kalispell is on track to see the removal of its train tracks.
For the railroad tracks to come out, the vision for the city is to create that walking trail through that 3 or 3.5 mile section of downtown Kalispell. You know, it's a tremendous urban amenity that will be attractive for merchants, restaurants, and so on to front onto that walking trail, but it's also going to be of a tremendous interest to residential developers.
Looking for direction, city leaders, along with private and public stakeholders, such as downtown property owners, met with the head of Redevelopment Authority in Denver.
Denver undertook a revitalization of our downtown that started over 30 years ago, and we've been relatively successful with that.
Tracy Huggins, executive director of the Denver Urban Renewal Authority, led a small group discussion about the challenges, successes, and steps a community can take to promote growth.
One of the things that I think is really key is a strong commitment on the part of the public sector to really define what a plan, what a vision for Kalispell's downtown can and should be, but they can't do that alone. They really need to engage with the private sector, whether that is the property owners, the business owners, the chamber.
It is a long process. It happens in steps, but I think it's important to keep moving forward and help support that progress.
Reporting in Kalispell, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
The old train tracks will be replaced with that new pedestrian trail by 2019.
Well, coming up after the break, Aaron will be back with our forecast for the rest of the week, and we'll talk about tonight's winds, too.
And later, the Montana Highway Patrol cracking down on organized crime going through our state. Find out how they're going to do that coming up on KPAX.